This is honestly the hardest video I've ever had to make in my life. I've spent months trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, but after a lot of thought, I have decided that I will no longer be doing Sidemen videos.
Bombshell news has just shocked the internet. One of the largest UK content creators turned celebrities has announced his split from the infamous YouTube group, The Sidemen.
You get to meet us.
What?
You get to meet us.
What a privilege. What a privilege. What a fuck.
Why? Why do you do this to me?
Nearly. Nearly got sent off at the same time.
Why must you let me suffer?
Oh no.
Oh no.
What is the world's largest animal?
Blue whale.
Incorrect. Josh's mom. And that is his tongue.
Oh my.
I put at me, she knows. She knows she put at me.
Wait, how close is Florida to Miami?
Just play.
What? No, hold on. Have I done something stupid?
Press play, JJ. We got you, bro. Press play.
Knowledge. Proof that KSI is smart. Okay, now we're talking. Some shit to gas me up. Let's go.
If you've spent any time on the internet over the past 15 years, there is no doubt you have heard of the name KSI. Maybe you know him as a YouTuber, maybe you know him as a boxer, or as a musician. Or maybe recently you've seen him sitting on the panel of Britain's Got Talent. But regardless of where you know him from, one thing has always remained true. KSI was a member of the Sidemen.
In the karaoke. You can go back to playing your usual songs.
together, I remember just thinking for you and I.
For the rest of my life, looking for sun rays, needing them good days. Fly me away, you're my holiday.
From FIFA videos filmed in a bedroom, to sold out charity Sidemen football matches, to Netflix shows, global businesses, and millions of fans from around the world, the Sidemen weren't just a group. They became a whole institution, which is why fans have been deeply shocked about KSI's new announcement that he would be stepping away from the Sidemen to really focus on something that he felt like he had been neglecting for years: his personal life, his health, his family, after more than a decade of creating one of the largest creator groups on the internet. KSI says it's time for a different chapter. But I think hearing that news really raises a whole different question. How did a teenager who was making FIFA videos from his bedroom become one of the most influential internet personalities from our generation? How did someone who was once mocked for making gaming videos become a musician, a boxer, an entrepreneur, television judge, and ultimately a global celebrity? And why does stepping away from the Sidemen feel like a total end of an era? Today, we are looking at the extraordinary rise of KSI, the story of how a kid from Watford changed his life forever. Long before the money, long before Prime, before sold out arenas, there was just JJ. Born Olajide Olatunji, KSI grew up in Watford and, like many of teenagers, spent a lot of his time playing video games. In 2008, he started uploading his videos to YouTube, not because he had a business plan, not because he thought it would make him rich. That wasn't majorly a thing then, but purely because it was fun. At the time, YouTube wasn't really even viewed as a real career. It was just a hobby, something people did after school, and certainly not something that you would drop out of education to pursue. But KSI's FIFA content was different. It was louder, more energetic, more chaotic. While many of the gameplay creators at the time focused on gameplay, KSI focused on the entertainment value.
Oh, shit! Holy mother!
People weren't just watching FIFA, they were watching him. And slowly, these videos started to attract millions of viewers. What began as something very small in his bedroom slowly started to become something a lot bigger. As his audience exploded, KSI found himself surrounded by creators doing the same thing. Simon, Josh, Toby, Harry, Ethan, and Vic. Creators who understood what building a career in this space that most people didn't really take seriously. And together they formed the Sidemen.
So, me, Vic,
Oh, yeah.
and...
Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging. Do not leave me
So,
hanging.
Vic, I got
That was
you,
a
man.
long time, bro.
So-
that was a long time.
Vic, you can now say the N-word.
And honestly, I don't think anyone could have predicted what happened next. Before we do go into this, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and like the video. It just helps to push this channel a bit more, but let's carry on. At first, they were just a group of friends making videos, challenges, gaming content, football matches, honestly, just the kind of videos that felt like hanging out with one of your friends. But audiences really connected with it because unlike some traditional celebrities, these felt really real. Viewers watched them grow up in real time, move houses, start businesses, enter relationships, and building their whole lives online. And over time, the Sidemen really transformed themselves into one of YouTube's largest entertainment brands in the UK. But even as the group grew, KSI was building something a lot larger for himself. Most creators really do struggle to succeed in more than one industry. KSI, however, managed to break into multiple. First came boxing. What began as just some sort of internet entertainment evolved into headline events watched again by millions. He fights with Joella, his rivalry with Logan Paul, the rematch in Los Angeles. These weren't just influencer events anymore. They became moments in internet history. And then came the music. And I think this part people really underestimate, because I think while many influencers kind of dabble briefly with music, KSI actually built a legitimate recording career, charting albums, major collaborations, festival performances, a fan base that really existed beyond YouTube. At the same time, he then expanded into businesses, launching companies, investing in sports, building brands, eventually becoming part of conversations that had nothing to do with YouTube. The teenager who was once criticised for making FIFA videos had become something entirely different. Not just a creator, but a mainstream celebrity. If KSI's YouTube career made him famous, boxing had made him impossible to ignore.
Maybe a tactic on his part to tire out.
Good right hand from Tommy. KSI still not putting his hands up.
Because before influencer boxing became a billion-view industry, before sold-out arenas and massive pay-per-view events, there was KSI versus Joella.
Imagine 8,000 people seeing your head absolutely crushed onto the canvas, and Weller lift his hands up.
At the time, I think most people just expected it to be a bit of a novelty, just, you know, a bit of internet fun, something fans would probably watch and then just forget about. Instead, I think it honestly became one of the biggest events that YouTube had seen. And after beating Joella, KSI had immediately done something that no one had expected. He called out Logan Paul.
Wow. Obviously, a man's got this belt right now. If any YouTuber wants it, you can come get it. Jake Paul, Logan Paul, any of the Pauls, I don't care. Bring it.
not another UK creator, not another FIFA YouTuber, one of the biggest internet stars at the time. The fight became a global event. Millions watched, millions picked sides, and suddenly two YouTubers were gaining attention that usually were only reserved for those professional athletes. The first fight ended in a draw. The rematch took place in Los Angeles, and when KSI won by split decision, it wasn't just a victory in the ring.
The draw. Moret scores the contest 56-55 to the winner by split decision from the United Kingdom, the Nightmare.
That's my guy! Come on!
It was proof that these content creators could really compete in spaces that were previously dominated by traditional celebrities and professional athletes. Whether people really loved it or hated it, influencer boxing had arrived, and KSI was the face of it. So if we looked at his boxing as a way of how he could succeed outside of YouTube, Prime, I think, proved he could build something a lot bigger.
Sainsbury's say sorry as Prime fans were met with empty shelves in stores. The hype around the drink has been huge, and it's had fans rushing to bulk buy the drink when the company announced that they would stock it. Sainsbury's limited them to 3 bottles per person and even added security tags.
Because by this point, KSI wasn't just a content creator, he was becoming an entrepreneur. Together with his former rival, Logan Paul, he launched Prime Hydration. And I think, as you already know, the internet went crazy. Products were sold out, queues were forming hours before releases, resale prices skyrocketed. People weren't just buying a drink, they were buying into a brand. And while Prime did become the headline story, it wasn't the only business that KSI was involved in.
Sides review, loaded tenders. You know me. Anytime there's a sides, there's a Danny. Scranding it.
2 hours later.
Still going?
Restaurants, investments, brand partnerships, ownership stakes. Over the years, he really did build an entire business portfolio around his personal brand. I think it's really easier to forget now. However, there really was a time where people would laugh at the idea of a YouTuber becoming a business person. I think KSI really helped with changing that perception. He showed that these creators weren't just entertainers, they were founders. For years, traditional media has looked down on content creators. YouTubers weren't seen as real celebrities, but eventually they became impossible to ignore.
How did you find out that you were nominated?
I think I was on the toilet. Yeah, I was just taking a dump. Yeah. And someone just messaged me in the group chat like, yo, you'll never guess what. And instantly dropped. And then I was like, wow, I'm Brit nominated. This is sick.
KSI really reached a level of fame that he was crossing into spaces that previously would have just felt inaccessible. Award shows, television appearances, mainstream interviews, and eventually Britain's Got Talent.
Yes! I don't know what to look at! I don't think I like that. Hey! Stop booing my cats!
I'm giving this 30 seconds. What a waste of time.
For someone who started by creating FIFA videos on YouTube, sitting on one of the UK's biggest TV shows honestly felt surreal. It wasn't just a personal achievement. I think it really represented a wider shift in the culture today. The generation that had grown up watching YouTube had become adults, and the creators that they watched had become mainstream stars. KSI wasn't crossing over. He was really helping to redefine what fame looked like in the digital age, which brings us back to today, because from the outside looking in, this could potentially look like the worst possible time to leave. The Sidemen are bigger than ever. Their videos are regularly attracting millions of views. Their businesses are thriving. Their influence continues to grow. So why step away now?
The truth is, nothing bad has happened. This decision is completely my own. Over the last few years, I felt myself
being pulled in a lot of directions than ever before. I spent so long trying to be everything for everyone, trying to be everywhere, trying to do it all, trying not to let anyone down. But somewhere along the way, I started losing the balance of my own life.
According to KSI, the answer was pretty simple: balance. After years of juggling YouTube, boxing, music, business ventures, television appearances, and multiple other commitments, something had to give. He has previously spoken about wanting to prioritize family, relationships, and his personal life. And honestly, I think it's pretty hard to argue with that, because when you look at his career, I think it's pretty difficult to think to many people who would be able to squeeze that much in just 15 years. At some point, I think success really stops becoming how much more you can achieve, and I think it's really just about deciding what matters most. Now, before anyone does panic, KSI hasn't announced the end of the Sidemen, but I think his departure does raise that kind of interesting question: can the Sidemen truly be the Sidemen without KSI? After all, I don't think you can just put him down as another member. He was obviously one of the 7 original stars, the person whose success has helped open doors for other people. For many people, KSI was the introduction to the group, but at the same time, I think the Sidemen of 2026 are very different to the Sidemen of 2013. Each member has built their own individual audiences, their own identity, their own businesses. The group has evolved beyond any one individual, and perhaps that is the ultimate sign of success. Not that one person can carry it forever, but that it can continue when one person does decide to step back. Still, if KSI really is leaving for good, there will undoubtedly be a feeling that something has really importantly changed, because for an entire generation of internet users, KSI and the Sidemen have of course always gone hand in hand. I think it's really strange to think about. A teenager starts uploading FIFA videos in his bedroom. People laugh, people tell him that it's a waste of time. Then he becomes one of the most influential creators in the world. A boxer, a musician, a businessman, a television personality. And now he's stepping away from the thing that originally helped build it all. Not because he failed and not because he failed to, but because he wants something different. And maybe that is why the story is so interesting. KSI has spent years proving that creators can do anything: build businesses, sell out arenas, compete with mainstream celebrities, change entire industries. And now he's facing a different challenge: figuring out what life looks like when success isn't the only priority. And whether this is the end of KSI's Sidemen chapter or simply the beginning of the next one thing really is certain: his impact on YouTube, on internet culture, and an entire generation of creators has been completely concreted long before he ever decides to walk away. I did see some comments of people joking that this should be a forfeit because Arsenal lost in the Champions League. I will say the video felt very genuine, so I very much doubt it is, especially with kind of some of the things he was talking about. It was very emotional. There was a lot of talks about kind of prioritizing family. I don't necessarily think that would have been the avenue he would go down if that truly was for a forfeit, but we shall see. If it truly is, he is stepping away from the Sidemen. I think it is a very sad moment for internet culture. However, I think he has definitely earned himself a place in YouTuber royalty, and whether this means he's still focusing on his own channel, because I believe that is growing quite a lot at the moment, or whether he just becomes a different sort of personality, we shall see. But I think it's proven he will succeed in whatever he does. It just feels like a bit of an end of an era. If you did enjoy today's video, please be sure to like the video and subscribe down below. I make lots of different videos like this, and all the support is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.